Good guy, that Mike Garafolo.
And the Jets quarterback situation is where we will begin for our weekly visit with Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network. Mike, we heard from Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't like all the stuff on the sidelines. Joe Namath said he's just done with Zach Wilson altogether. And yet, Robert Saleh, the head coach of this team, seems determined to stick with Zach Wilson as his starter. But will that confidence potentially waver if this team continues to lose?
I just don't know what the answer is, Jay. It's not Trevor Siemian. This is a guy who couldn't win a backup job with the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, anybody who's available right now is available for a reason, or perhaps multiple reasons. Obviously, teams staying away from Carson Wentz right now. I know there was a thought of Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan seemingly is done right now. The only way he'd come back is if there's a team that's desperate and in contention late in the season. Look, Zach Wilson may have been a different quarterback if he'd sat for 2 years, watched Aaron Rodgers day in and day out at the facility, and then on Sundays during games. But that didn't happen. He got about 4 plays of that. He got 4 plays of that. And that's the real sad part for me, because I did want to see Zach Wilson's potential development. 95% of my interest in the Jets quarterback position was what Aaron Rodgers was going to do. The other 5 was, how is Rodgers going to help Zach Wilson? Now, he is apparently going to help him this Sunday and help the entire team. You heard him say a lot of stuff going on that he doesn't like, and I thought that maybe the Jets still have a shot at the playoffs when Rodgers went down, because I could see him being around and at least providing the presence. Well, he alluded to the fact that he might be in attendance for this game by saying on the Pat McAfee show, you never know who you're going to see at this game on Sunday. So that could provide a bit of a lift for the Jets. It's about all you can hope for at the quarterback position is Rodgers to show up and provide some kind of boost right now. We'll see. Maybe they'll be competitive against the Jets. They certainly need to play a lot better than they did against the Patriots.
Bengals played a lot better and got their first win of the season on Monday night. And Joe Burrow said after the game that the risk of potentially going 0-3 outweighed the risk of re-injuring that calf. But will there be a week this entire season where the risk of re-injuring that calf won't be a factor for Burrow and the Bengals?
No, I think it's going to be. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had this a couple of years ago, a calf issue. It never really goes away until you can completely rest it in the offseason. So this is going to be something he's going to have to learn to deal with and figure out a way to be effective. Now, the game plan clearly was on Monday night, Jay, get the ball out quickly. Don't put him in any danger. Don't make him have to move. It's going to be hard to keep that up for all 17 games this season. So the Bengals will have to figure something out, and Burrow will learn to get more comfortable in dealing with the injury and learning how he's going to have to play, and just you hope that he doesn't aggravate that tear, re-injure it, create another tear, something like that. That's the best hope for the Bengals, and that their defense, which is really good under defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, maybe is going to have to take on a little bit more and realize we may not be the scoring machine that we were at times over the last couple of years, and we may not be able to rely on our quarterback the way that we have. So this is a team that's still going to be competitive. Just got to figure out different ways to get it done.
Lots of quarterbacks in the infirmary all around the NFL. Mike, is there any good news you can share about possible playing time for pivots who might be in a little bit of pain? That's a lot of peas. So.
Sure. I'll start with the good news. I was going to start with the bad news, but you know what, Jay? You're an optimist, so I'll start with the good news. Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, the plan is for him to try to give it a go this week after being down for 1 week and Andy Dalton taking over. So that's a good sign, and maybe that week of rest allowed him to reset mentally as well. We shall see with Bryce Young this week. Now, the Panthers had Jake Luton, the quarterback that they signed last week when they realized that Young wasn't going to play. He was signed away by the New Orleans Saints, who are potentially down their starting quarterback in Derek Carr. I believe that is a sign. And by the way, the Panthers didn't put up a fight to keep Luton, which is another indication that Young is going to be ready to go. But Luton going to New Orleans now, certainly an indication that Derek Carr with that shoulder injury, which is a week-to-week type deal, doesn't look like he's going to be able to go this week. And look, when you have Jameis Winston, a guy you can rely upon to win games, you can do a lot worse than Jameis Winston at the backup quarterback spot. So I don't think we're going to see Derek Carr this week. And then the other guy I wanted to mention is Jimmy Garoppolo with that concussion. Look, it's always hard for me to say, well, could that concussion clear? Could he clear protocol? By the concussions are really hard to certainly project here. But I do know that it sounds to me from what the conversations that I have had, that they are preparing Brian Hoyer to be the starter here, which is a little interesting. I think you're going to get some folks who would have clamored for Aiden O'Connell, the rookie who looked so impressive during the preseason. But my understanding is if Garafolo can't go, and it looks like he won't be able to, that it's going to be Brian Hoyer for the Raiders.
Brian Hoyer continues to have an excellent career as a backup in the National Football League. Mike, aren't you glad I didn't ask you once about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? I wasn't going to do that to you, buddy.
I appreciate it, Jay. We've spent a lot of time talking about that. I do love now the movement on social media now, which is to say that the Swifties are going to have to learn football. I even saw our Bridget Condon. She had a tremendous interview with Cooper Kupp where he gave an incredibly technical answer a couple of years ago. You may have remembered that one. She posted it. She said, this is what the Swifties are going to sound like by Super Bowl time. She may be right.
I hope so. All I know is Travis gained 300,000 social media followers. That is the power of Taylor Swift. Incredible stuff. Mike, you're the best. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, my friend.